Test 1, 2. The meeting for the Board of Appeals will now come to order. Roll call. Mr. Bacilli? Mr. Corrin? Mr. D'Angelo? Mr. Mazzoni? Mr. Colometto is absent. Mr. Tucker? Present. Quorum is present. At the March meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Board of Appeals conducted public hearings on applications A1703, 04, 05, 06, 07, and 08. Two of the members were not present at that meeting. However, in accordance with Section 23D of Chapter 39 of the Mass General Laws, the two members who were absent at that meeting have examined the records of the City of Revere Zoning Board of Appeals and have reviewed all of the files and are sufficiently informed to be able to vote on the applications this evening. First matter before the board is application A1703. You're just going to vote on these? We can just vote? Yeah. The public hearings already took place at our last meeting.
This is on the application of Margarita and Lionel Martinez, 65 Union Street, requesting variances, minimum lot area, minimum rear yard, to enable the appellant to subdivide lots 13, 14, 57, 58, and 59 Union Street and June Street to create a new lot, A, containing 8,369.2 square feet, and lots 25, 26, 27, and 28 Union Street and June Street to create new lot B with a structure thereon at 65 Union Street, Revere. Question comes on granting the relief requested, which would enable the applicant to return to the planning board for a subdivision. Mr. Bacilli? Yes. Yes. Mr. Corrin? Yes. Mr. D'Angelo? Yes. Mr. Mazzoni? Yes. Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
This is granted. This will be sent back to the applicant can return back to the planning board once the appeal period is lapsed. The next application before the board is application A1704. This is a special permit application of Christine McCarran, 450 Revere Beach Boulevard, rear, requesting a special permit to enable the appellant to further alter and extend a pre-existing non-conforming structure to convert a single-family dwelling to a two-family dwelling on Lot Part C at 450 Revere Beach Boulevard, rear.
Seeing that the ward councilor wanted to speak on this, I don't see him in the audience. He is on his way, so we'll table that and go to the next calendar item number.
The next application before the board is application A1705. This is the application of Batten Brothers Signs and Awnings, 893 Main Street, Wakefield, requesting a variance to enable the appellant to install a third exterior sign on Lot 6A at 339 Squire Road, Revere. Question now comes on granting the relief requested by the appellant. Mr. Bacilli? Yes. Yes. Mr. Corrin? Yes. Mr. D'Angelo? Yes. Yes. Mr. Mazzoni? Yes. Yes. Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, this is granted.
The next application before the board is application A1706, Hezania Residential LLC, 83 Bennington Street, Revere, requesting the following variances: front yard, side yard, rear yard setbacks, floor area ratio, screening for parking, minimum screening for non-residential use to enable the appellant to construct a 5-story, 22-unit residential unit transit-oriented apartment on lots 224 and 225 at 83 Bennington Street, Revere.
The ward councilor, do you wish to speak or just stay in the audience? We already heard the public hearing the last time.
Joanne McKenna, Ward 1 Councilor, 830 Winthrop Avenue. So there are concerns about the residents that abut this property at 77 Bennington Street. They have said that when the structure, the former structure was there, when the city was taking it down, there was damage to their building. I'm requesting that the city, Benny DeCristoforo, go out there and look at the damage, and before the construction starts, I would like to have an evaluation done about their property if there's damage.
Okay, not to cut you short, but that's not coming in front of, that couldn't come in front of us. You would have to address that with the city solicitor or building department.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
All righty, thank you.
Question now comes on granting the relief requested by the appellant. Mr. Bacilli? Yes. Yes. Mr. Corrin? Yes. Yes. Mr. D'Angelo? Yes. Yes. Mr. Mazzoni? Yes. Yes. Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, this is granted. The next application before the board is application A1707, the application of Veronica Lujuna, 77 Stour Street, Revere, requesting a variance to enable the appellant to raise the existing garage structure on lot 67 to qualify lot 67 as a buildable lot for a single-family dwelling adjacent to 67 Carlton Street, Revere.
Again, this is continued from the last hearing, so we will ask to be voting on it this evening.
Question now comes on granting the relief requested. Mr. Bacilli? Yes. Yes. Mr. Corrin? Yes. Mr. D'Angelo? Yes. Yes. Mr. Mazzoni? Yes. Yes. Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, this is granted.
One more and then we'll take up the other one.
This is application A1708, the application of DCM Realty LLC, 25 Renee Drive, Wakefield, requesting the following variances: minimum lot area, minimum frontage, minimum front yard, side yard, and rear yard setbacks, maximum floor area ratio, minimum parking, minimum screening to enable the appellant to reconstruct a non-conforming structure at 7-9 Dehone Street to construct a 3-story mixed-use building comprising 4 residential units and 2 commercial units at 7-9 Dehone Street.
This is also continued from our last meeting where we had a public hearing, so this will be voted on. Roll call.
Question now comes on granting the relief requested by the appellant. Mr. Bacilli? Yes. Mr. Corrin? Yes. Mr. D'Angelo? Yes. Mr. Mazzoni? Yes. Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, this is granted. Coming back now.
We're going to go back to one calendar item number A1704 so the ward councilor can speak.
I would like to present the award with some added information. I left the document the last time I was here, and it was continued. And I'm here today to speak in opposition of the permit for 450 Revere Boulevard.
You can introduce new.
We can introduce new information. Once the ward councilor, we do let the ward councilor speak first, okay? So once they call this up,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Good afternoon, Mr. Powers.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My principal concern with that proposal is the foundation down there. And I've spoken to the city engineer regarding this. He says he has spoken to the proponents and that it's their intention to bring in a new foundation into that. However, before any permit is issued down there, or if a permit is going to be issued, I would like to make it part of the permit that a qualified engineer would submit a rendering for a foundation, make sure it's adequate to support anything that is going to be built down there. And I'd like also to listen to this gentleman's information that he has. He has more information, and that also may be pertinent to the issuance of a permit. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. I'm sorry. Please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Lawrence Michelson, and I have a new house at 454 Revere Beach Boulevard that was built, started building in 2010, and we finished it in 2013 due to various problems with the contractor. Now, I have some documents here that I would like to give to the board, and I also left some documents and some pictures of the area with the board at the last meeting for your consideration. I am opposed to any permit that would allow a two-family house to be built over there. There is a private way that will be involved in the situation, and there is no place actually for construction vehicles over there. They do not have any land where they can put a dumpster, and the last dumpster they put on my land, they don't have any land over there for parking. It's a very confined area. So I really hope that the board will consider this and not issue a permit for the two-family in the back of my building. And it isn't conservation land and wetlands over there. That house is in the back of mine, and it's deeper into that area of conservation and wetlands. And the rest is up to you, what you're going to do. I hope that you will deny it.
If you could provide the clerk with those pictures. We did able to review all the other pictures.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And again, the Board of Appeals does not issue permits. We're here to vote on a variance only.
I see.
Anything to do with permits, conservation, building department is all separate.
I gotcha.
So we just have to stick with what's at hand, and that's just a variance, and that's it.
Well, if you give them a variance, it means that actually that the building department will give them a permit to build.
That's not necessarily true.
No.
As you heard the ward councilor, they want engineering drawings for the foundation. They would have to go in front of conservation, so that there's a whole other process.
I see. Okay. Thank you for listening to me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Question now comes on granting the relief requested by the appellant. Mr. Pacilli? Yes. Yes. Mr. Corrin? Yes. Mr. D'Angelo? Yes. Mr. Mazzoni? Yes. Mr. Tucker?
With the ward councilor's stipulation for the
A
unengineered
qualified
drawing.
engineer will submit a foundation design plan prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Correct. Yes.
Yes. The variance is granted. Special permit is granted, excuse me.
Now we go on to 4 calendar item numbers which are new. So we will take the first calendar item number, A1709.
A1709, also CA 1514, the application of Jean Budrow, 209 Rice Avenue, Revere, requesting minimum front yard, side yard, rear yard setbacks and landscape requirement in front yard to enable the appellant to construct an 8-foot by 8-foot unenclosed deck in the rear yard and a 10-foot by 24-foot unenclosed deck in the front yard on lot 323 at 209 Rice Avenue, Revere.
Just for the record, this was in front of us before. They allowed the 2 years to lapse, so they're just in front of us again. They did not come in front of us in time to ask for a continuance. Is there anyone here representing? We'll take that we'll table this for now and go to the next calendar item number.
This is calendar item A1710. This is a special permit application of Harry Bandar, 4 Sheldon Circle, Middleton, requesting a special permit to expand a non-conforming structure by raising the existing structure and reconstructing a single-family dwelling at 15 Arcadia Street, Revere.
Is the applicant present? Could you please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record?
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Attorney George Matta, 30 Church Street in Belmont, Massachusetts.
Good afternoon. My name is Hani Bandar, 4 Sheldon Circle, Middleton, Mass.
Okay. Would you like to do a presentation, or does... No?
I think you guys have the maps in the file.
Okay. It is a public hearing, so I'll have to ask for proponents. Are there any proponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Are there any opponents? The ward councilor is in the chambers as well. Would you allow the other gentleman to speak first? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Good
Rod
afternoon.
Burrow, 5 Argyle Street. I'm a direct abutter to this property. It's actually along the rear of my property line. I am opposed to the extension of the foundation for the reason of the improper setback that is there now. Also, the proposed deck that would be constructed in addition to the extension of the foundation would not be in proper variance to the rear of the property. It's shy about 4.5, 5 feet. I'm not opposed to it going up in height. My concerns are those two plus the front entrance in the addition of a garage under. Plan doesn't really state how the front stairs are treated into the building, and if the foundation itself will allow single or 2-car parking under. Thank you.
Okay. And the ward councilor, Mr. Powers?
Good afternoon once again. I'm here this afternoon in support of the neighborhood, in particular the gentleman that just spoke. It's my understanding that to allow this would bring his foundation within 2.5 feet of the abutter, and I certainly would be opposed to that. As far as the height restriction, if he wants to raise it, I don't have any problem with that. But I think to enlarge the rear of that building would not be good for the neighborhood, and keep in mind also that this is in the flood plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other opponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any questions? Do you have anything to state, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. I do. The plan was not presented to us in the format that the Board of Appeal requested, and we go through a whole different format than what you provided. So I do have some questions. The elevation of the property is not depicted on this plan, or unless I'm not seeing something.
What's the what date do you have on the plan, sir?
This one plan?
Okay, he's got a note down below about Zone AE Elevation 11, and he has a note, I'm trying to find it, that we're at 12 feet, so we're a foot above that elevation. Thank you.
Now, how will you provide the stairs to the front? If you're going, again, it doesn't show that this plan doesn't show a vehicle underneath. It does say proposed underground, but
Yeah.
the width we'd have to get the proper dimensions, the 9 by 18, and then show how stairs would be constructed for the front of that unit.
May I give this?
Sure.
For the single conduit. And we were going to put the door here as well. If I'm giving the extension in the back, even if it's reduced by the 2.5 feet that they're saying, I would still have enough room. And by mass code, I can park back to back as long as it's single-family residence.
Well, there's only a one-car parking
Yes, but
space.
I can put two, I'd have the additional length with the additional foundation to put 2 cars back to back.
And they'd be entering from
I'll be entering from this side, yes, sir. Obviously, the aesthetics may change, we're not particularly careful of the brick, but the doorway itself, you would come in, that would be your main entrance. And again, because the current foundation is on a 0 setback, it's right where the sidewalk is, and even the sides are, encroach. It's only a 1,920 square foot lot. We're just trying to improve it. I'm not trying to get away with anything.
the ward councilor, and the opponent, would you like to look at the plan so that you can see what the front elevation is here, if you don't mind showing them, and then if members wish to speak, to see it after?
Sure. I have extra sets I can. So we're bringing this up.
No, the current, he's saying your proposed porch would be, you'd require a variance.
I'm trying to leave the front. I don't want to touch where I have 0 setback. But going into the back, I need to make a foundation.
The porch is, the deck would be, the deck would be 15.9 to 20,000. Nope, yours.
My deck, I can straighten, the deck is secondary. So again, this has a new foundation. If you were to leave to existing foundation alone, I got another square foot, I can less than another square foot
opposed to this only because of the length, the difference in the side. But I'm not sure. I just think it's somewhat, I know what I can do about that. I can reduce this a little bit, no problem, but I'm not, if it's the case, then obviously, this is right now, this is, so right now, the entire footprint of this is 35 feet by 19 and a half. I'm making 46 feet wide, not that big, by 19 by 19 and a half. So the next small lot is a non-conforming lot. Exactly. All those lots are non-conforming, and the precedent's already been set with the house next to us. That's exactly what they did. So, again, we know who opposed to people. I mean, that's not, I'm not doing anything that is, you know.
The reason that the house next door we have the back, because they did front yard parking as well. So they have a parking space on their own property. They have a garage plus front yard parking. That was asked for.
Yeah, one car on each side. They're not on each side. They're narrow, but it's not, they're not narrow. Yeah, you just know that because you're they're 40 feet. They're 40 feet.
Are we gonna ask for a table for this so that the ward councilor can meet with them? Okay. So is there a motion to table? Is anybody seconded?
Question now comes on continuing this matter to the next meeting of the board. Mr. Bacilli? Yes. Mr. Corrin? Yes. Mr. D'Angelo? Yes. Mr. Mazzoni? Yes. Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
What's the next meeting?
The next meeting, what do you want, the 24th? May 24th? The next meeting will be May 24th at 4 p.m.
Thank you.
The next matter before the board is application A1607, the application of Corey and Carrie Abrams, 252 Franklin Street, Reading, requesting a 6-month extension of City of Revere Zoning Board of Appeals decision A1607 for Lot North Part 252 Bennington Street, Revere, to construct a 1-story retail flower shop. Question comes on granting a 6-month extension. Yes, I don't know if they want to
You don't need to make a presentation, Corey? Okay. We can have a roll call? Yes.
Mr. Bacilli? Yes. Mr. Corrin? Yes. Mr. D'Angelo? Yes. Mr. Mazzoni? Yes. Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Yes. 6-month extension granted. The next application is application A1605, Cavallo Corporation, 770 Victoria Street, Somerville, requesting a 6-month extension of City of Revere Zoning Board of Appeals decision A1605 to construct a single-family dwelling on Lot 129, 130, and Part Lot 128 at 8 Belcher Street, Revere.
There was someone in the audience that raised their hand. Are you the applicant? Okay, so we already understand exactly what's going on.
The original decision that was never filed. It expires.
Can you step up to the microphone, please? Just state your name and address for the record.
Ron Cavallo, 70 Victoria Street, Somerville, Mass.
Okay.
This decision of May 25th, 2016 will expire on May 25th, 2017. So it's incumbent upon, if the board grants this 6-month extension, he's got to get into the Registry of Deeds and record the original decision before May 25th, or it's all gone.
Sure. Okay, will do.
Question comes on granting the 6-month extension. Mr. Bacilli? Yes. Mr. Corrin? Yes. Mr. D'Angelo? Yes. Mr. Mazzoni? Yes. Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, this is granted.
Thank you.
Having no further business, our next meeting will be on May 24th at 4 p.m. Thank you.
I was late, Chief Woodruff. I apologize. rain. I am looking for it, I already have an approval for 2 decks, but it expired.
And we voted on,
We're back, I'm sorry.
I apologize.
We have one more calendar item number. The applicant did appear.
A1709. This is application A1709. This is the application of Jean Boudreau, 209 Rice Avenue, Revere, requesting minimum front yard, side yard, rear yard setbacks, and landscape requirement in front yard to enable the appellant to construct an 8-foot by 8-foot unenclosed deck in the rear yard in a 10-foot by 24-foot unenclosed deck in the front yard on Lot 323 at 209 Rice Avenue, Revere.
Seeing that this is a public hearing, does the ward councilor wish to speak?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members. I'm familiar with the property. I don't think it's any different than what's existing down there now in that neighborhood. And she's done a lot of work down there. She's taken out an apartment down there, which we required her to do. So not that that has anything to do with the variance, but she's shown good faith, and anything she's done down there, she's applied for permits and done the right thing, and I feel that she'll be a good neighbor and an asset to the Rice Avenue area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any proponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Just for the edification, this we did vote on in the past. They let it expire over the 2 years, so that is why it's in front of us again. And we'll now do a roll call.
Excuse me, is it 2 years? Because they told me I had to reapply again because it's a year one.
This is a variance which is a 1 year.
Oh, 1 year, I'm sorry.
Special permits are for 2 years.
So it is a variance.
Yep. Question comes on granting relief requested by the appellant. Mr. Bacilli? Yes. Mr. Corrin? Yes. Mr. D'Angelo? Yes. Mr. Mazzoni? Yes. Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, it's granted.
No further business. We'll be back May 24th at 4 p.m.
Thank you very much.
You have my file? 1 year.